Welcome back, everyone. I am the main event. Here are 5 things you need to remember for Series 11. So this list is going to be comprised of things that you probably already know or maybe have just forgotten about, but things that I think people need to remember and should be reminded of going into the next series. Also some mistakes I've seen people making on the showdown ladder. So number 1, weight-based moves. Heat crash, heavy slam, 2 big examples. Those moves no longer work as well because they don't work on Dynamax mods, and Series 11 brings back Dynamax. So people are still clicking, heat crash on their Groudons into your Dynamax mod and wondering why it's not working. Or clicking heavy slam into Dynamax mods and wondering why it's not working. It's because they don't work on moves. Anything that Grass Knot is another big one, does not work on Dynamax mods. So do keep that in mind when you're team building for the upcoming series. Number 2 on this list is when Dynamax, you have to remember that your HP gets doubled, but that's not an automatic mechanic. That happens only when you have your Dynamax candy on your Pokemon. So obviously you're gonna have a lot of old Dynamax mons that have candy already, but if you have a bunch of new mons that you have not been Dynamax candy because you've been playing the previous format, Series 10, then you may have a bunch of mons that you're ready to use but don't have any Dynamax candy on them. So if you do that, you will Dynamax, but you will not get the HP bonus. So you essentially not really getting half of the Dynamax bonus, because half of the Dynamax bonus is the HP boost and the attack boost. So remember to Dynamax candy your mons in team building so that you're not putting yourself at a disadvantage. Number 3 on the list is Series 10 was a very, very fake out dominated format. You had like a Rillaboom and an Incineroar. One could U-turn, one could Party Shot, or both could U-turn. They could just fake out and cycle that way. You could pretty much put your opponent in a loop where they couldn't do anything. Please remember that fake out does not work on Dynamax mods. Obviously people know that, but people are forgetting because, like I said, I've been on the show now a little bit. People are clicking fake out into mods that sometimes are not obviously going to Dynamax, but some that are definitely going to Dynamax. And fake out does not work on Dynamax mods. So also just consider that although fake out is still very strong and very viable, you have to consider where you are clicking it and when, because if someone thinks you're going to fake them out, they'll just Dynamax right in front of you, and now they're getting free damage or a free airstream, and that's the last thing you want to give up in this format. So remember, be careful with your fake outs. Number 4, Series 10 was a game of where's the focus sash, as I like to call it, and a lot of people call it that too, I think. Series 11 is going to be a game of where's the weakness policy. You have to be very careful where you're attacking, because all Dynamax formats, the most powerful item in all of them, usually is weakness policy, because you can put it on anything and make it into a powerhouse. My rule of thumb is if you can't figure out what item it has, it's weakness policy. If you think it has weakness policy, it has weakness policy every time. If a mod is on your opponent's team and you have no idea what it does, it has weakness policy. That's what it does. It's going to grow big and it's going to get +2 and it's going to wreck you. Keep that in mind. It could be a friggin' Crustle. It could be a Ponyta. It doesn't matter what it is. It does not matter. If it's on there and you are confused as to what it's going to do because it doesn't do anything normally, it's because it is going to activate weakness policy against you. So please keep that in mind. And that actually brings me to an honorable mention, because I just thought about something. With Dynamax mons, Oko moves don't work. You can't fissure a max mon, you can't sheer cold a max mon, I'm pretty sure. So be careful, because a lot of people were using like sheer cold and stuff like that in Series 10, fissure, etc. You can't do that to a max mon, so be careful. Last thing on this list, this is kind of the most like educational. Like, your damage calcs from the previous format no longer mean anything at all. Everything changes, because with Dynamax comes max moves, and with max moves comes stat changes that are constantly changing and evolving. So if you have a really cool calc and you know how to knock out a Pokemon every single time, no matter what it's invested in, consider that if it's next to something that steel spikes or max quakes, its defenses are going to increase, and your calc is thrown out the window immediately. So whether you want to redo your calcs that you know or not, just think about that. +1s and -1s in speeds are going to be very, very important. Some mons may be a little bit bulkier now because they're going to add that bulk, take away speed, and just airstream the speed, and they'll get faster that way instead of investing in speed. Some mons may no longer invest in bulk and may invest more in your attack, because when you Dynamax, you get the double HP, so you don't really need the bulk. So you put it into your damage output. So there's gonna be a lot more changes when it comes to damages. Those damage rolls that you were relying on, you're probably not gonna be able to rely on them as much anymore. Those speed tiers you were relying on, you are gonna be able to ride them to start, but after a few turns, those things might change. So just keep those things in the back of your mind. So those are my 5 things I think people need to remember for Series 11. In the comments, let me know what I'm missing and what you think people need to look out for with the upcoming series and the return of Dynamax. And until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.